Welcome to my attempt at beating a hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokemon Crystal Legacy, a ROM hack created by YouTuber Smith Plays Pokemon. This hack adjusts the original Gen 2 games so that the infamous terrible level curve is fixed, wild Pokemon are more varied and interesting, and many trainer battles have been changed to make the game slightly more challenging and fun. This is a hardcore Nuzlocke, so no items in battle. If a Pokemon faints, they're considered dead. I can only catch the first Pokemon in each route, and I cannot overlevel the next gym leader. With all that said, let's dive into the run. We enter the world, and immediately our senile mom asks us what the hell is going on, and then head over to the lab next door where we pick up the world's most hated sweet baby child.
I promise I will never let the haters touch you, Swift.
We head towards Mr. Pokemon's house, grab the mystery egg, and encounter our rival for the first time, but he's kind of a pushover. Also nice. We get Pokeballs, and it's time for a bunch of encounters. I pick up Perry the Hoot Hoot, Styles the Rattata, Doja the Poliwag, Mendez the Ghastly, Jonas the Geodude, and unfortunately against the Houndour I was trying to catch, Styles goes down to a critical hit Ember. Rest well, buddy. You didn't live long, but you will be missed. But now we have Bieber the Murderous Pupper. We head into Sprout Tower to find our rival throwing a pissy fit, and challenge the Elder to an extremely one-sided battle where Bieber pretty much just spams Ember until we win. Now it's time for a little bit of grinding until it's time to hit the gym. With the team leveled up to the cap of 10, we start out the battle leading with Geodude against Faulkner's Pidgey, and it immediately uses Mud Slap, so I decide to switch to Hoot Hoot to avoid getting destroyed by accuracy drops. After taking turns pecking each other's eyes out, Perry wins the War of Attrition, and in comes the big scary bird. Noctowl is much bulkier than the normal ace of Pidgeotto, so I quickly learned that my ways of damaging it are severely limited, while it can do big damage with stab pecks. I see my out though, and switch to Geodude on a light peck, Chikorita on a resisted Mud Slap, and click Leech Seed. Now, it's just a matter of switching between Geodude on pecks and Chikorita on Mud Slaps until that big owl goes down. Grab the egg from the scientist, which hatches into a Togepi I named Gaga and shove it in the box. Below Violet City, I pick up a Mareep named Sheeran, who also goes in the box, grab the Old Rod, and make my way to Union Cave, where I snag a little baby Meryl. Also, from this point forward, I'm not going to mention every encounter, just the ones that I think will be useful in the run. Team Rocket is blocking the second gym, so we go crying to a random old man who falls down a well and breaks his back, and then it's time to fight what's actually a pretty difficult Rocket battle in the Slowpoke well. I'm just going to quickly gloss over it, but I stupidly waste time switching around my party until realizing that Geodude can just obliterate the Grun's Houndour. Then I decide to go to Ilex Forest to get my encounter, and I stupidly forget there's a rival battle there that you aren't really supposed to do until after the gym, so I'm wild and prepared for this. Geodude takes down Zubat, Chikorita takes down Larvitar, but then comes out the level 18 Quilava. My plan is to pivot until I can safely bring in Geodude, but it just starts spamming defense curls and smoke screens. Eventually I realize this is going nowhere, so I hard switch into Geodude on a smoke screen, and miss my rock throw. More switching and pivoting, and I bring out Geodude once again. Quilava uses Ember, which steals about a third of my health, so I decide to go for a Hail Mary and click Magnitude. I get a Magnitude 8, which brings Quilava low, but it goes for smoke screen. As long as this next one hits, we've won the battle. Way to go, Jonas. Definitely MVP. While grinding, Swift evolves into Bayleaf, and it's time to fight Bugsy, whose most problematic Pokemon might surprise you. His lead of Pineco easily falls to a couple Embers from Bieber, and then Bugsy sends out his most threatening Pokemon, Ledian. Ledian only got slight buffs in this game, but it can set up Reflect and fire off powerful Thunder Punches and Side Beams, which will do big damage into most of my team. Fortunately though, I get a lucky burn with Ember, so it's just a matter of switching between my Dark and Ground type until it goes down, but I make sure that Geodude is out when it faints and not Houndour, because the Scyther in the back has Pursuit, which can get scary since Houndour is at pretty low health. Scyther comes out, and this is the Nuzlocke run killer. The extremely powerful... Oh, it's dead. Well, that was anticlimactic, but we have the second gym badge. I go through Ilex Forest, and I definitely don't struggle on the simple puzzle made for children. Then I realize that the only Pokemon I have that can learn Cut is Bayleaf, so unfortunately I have to get rid of Poison Powder. I head up through Goldenrod City to the National Park, where I catch a Scyther, who replaces Hoot Hoot on the team. I somehow managed to mess up yet another puzzle made for small children with underdeveloped prefrontal cortexes. Anyways, my rock's a bomb now. My plan going into Whitney was simple. Screw it, Weeball, and see where it goes from there. This fight can be extremely RNG dependent, so I decided to take it pretty defensively going in. I lead Bayleaf instead of a Leech Seed while Clefairy just uses Charm. I spam Mega Drains until it goes down, and thankfully, Clefairy doesn't pull out Mega Giga Flamethrower with Metronome, so it's a pretty easy first fight. Teddiursa comes out next, so I switch to Scyther and bring it low with a Cut. I switch back into Bayleaf in order to be at a normal type move over Rollout and Miltank comes out, and take down Teddiursa with a Mega Drain. Miltank comes out, and as I had hoped, it goes for Stomp into Ghastly. I click Hypnosis as it goes for Rollout, and forget that Miltank has a status cure berry, so I go for another Hypnosis since I'm safe from another non-crit rollout. The second one thankfully connects, and I switch into Geodude to try and get big rolls with Magnitude, and if all else fails, go boom. Geodude gets some pretty low rolls with Magnitude, so it's looking like kamikaze time for the boulder, but Geodude connects with a critical hit Magnitude 7, which is enough for the win. Whitney starts crying, so I have to smack her up so she gives me the gym badge.
Shut the f up.
But now we are past probably the hardest early game fight. I get the Squirt Bottle and... What do you mean wiggling? Oh yeah, he's gyrating for sure. After taking 3 tries to solve the jigsaw puzzle for little kids, I'm kinda seeing a pattern here. I get the Dome Fossil and head up to Ecruteak City. In Mount Mortar is a new NPC who challenges me to a battle. I lead Scyther against Hitmonlee and use Cut a few times, which will eventually take it out, as Hitmonlee just goes for a flurry of fighting type moves that don't even tickle Scyther. Next up is Hitmonchan, so I decided to try the same strategy, but it ends up having Thunder Punch, so I decided to switch out to Bayleaf on a Mach Punch. I learn it knows Pursuit as I go for a soft Mega Drain, and then I click Leech Seed to whittle it down more, and then it brings me down to just 1 HP while I hit another weak Mega Drain. I decided to take the risk of getting Pursuit trapped and switch into Sudowoodo, but thankfully I'm not punished and I'm able to take it out with a low kick combined with Leech Seed Chip. As a reward, I get a Tyrogue, which is pretty cool, and then I catch a Magnemite to the left of Ecruteak, who actually ends up holding a Metal Coat. Then after some grinding, Tyrogue evolves into Hitmonlee and replaces Poliwag on the team. While going through my box to check out the Magnemite and grab the Metal Coat, I noticed that the Slowpoke I caught in Slowpoke Well was actually holding a King's Rock, which I also grab. While grinding to the level cap of 25, Doja, who is brought back on and replaces my Wiggly Boyo, evolves into a Poliwhirl, and I immediately use the King's Rock I got from Slowpoke to evolve it into Politoed. Also, while grinding, Bieber actually evolves into Houndoom at level 24, but I missed it because for some reason I thought it evolved in like the mid-30s. Finally, Ghastly evolves into a Haunter, and it's time to fight Morty. I lead Houndoom against his lead Haunter, and this could potentially be scary if... well, wait. This is awkward. Yeah, it turns out Bieber really is a murderous pupper. In Olivine City, I head to the top of the lighthouse, where Jasmine complains that her Ampharos is experiencing withdrawal symptoms, so I gotta get some Walter White grade methamphetamine from Cyanwood before she'll fight me.
You gotta be kidding.
I backtrack and fight the Kimono Girls in Ecruteak for the Surface Gem, which will allow me to get to Cyanwood, where we can fight the 5th Gym Leader Chuck. Side note, in this game you can fight Chuck, Price, and Jasmine in any order, but their levels and teams scale based on your number of badges. Pretty cool, right? Then we fight Yucine. Hitmonlee uses Rolling Kick while Politoed sets up the rain, so I switch to my own frog to start spamming strong surfs in the rain after putting him to sleep. I stay in on the Flaffy and take it out with 2 surfs while it does decent damage with Thunder Punch and paralyzes me. Against his Hypno, I send out Houndoom and take it out with a few bites. I then manage to thief a Dragon Scale off of a Wild Horsey, which will be useful for the Horsey I picked up on Route 41 if I ever need another water type.
Foreshadowing!
Oh, okay. You can't blame me for that. I was watching an Anthony Padilla interview. It's not my fault. It's not my fault! While grinding, Scyther finally hits level 30 and learns Wing Attack, so I go ahead and evolve it into Scissor to get Metal Claw, and now it's time to fight Chuck. I click Meditate turn 1 to boost my attack, while taking some damage from Rolling Kick, then take down Hitmontop with a critical hit high jump kick that probably could have killed like 3 of them. Chuck sends out Poliwrath, and looking at my team I have very little answers, so I decide to sack Hitmontop in exchange for some chip, but John gets the fling for the Rolling Kick and takes it out with 1 more. I then switch to Scissor to 1-shot Primeape with a Wing Attack, and then 2-shot the Sudowoodo, and not realizing at the time that a crit would have killed Scizor here. But we have the 5th badge. I get the meth from the pharmacy in Cyanwood, and hey, wait, that guy kinda looks like... We climb back up the tower and give the drugs to Jasmine, and her Ampharos snorts it out of the palm of her hand.
Tight, yeah!
I buy some TMs from the Goldenrod department store and add Ampharos to the team over Haunter for the upcoming gym, as Horsey evolves into Seadra and then immediately into Kingdra, using the Dragon Scale I thiefed earlier. Swift evolves into Meganium at the cap of 36, and it's time to fight the Drug Lord Jasmine. I lead Ampharos on her Skarmory and one-shot it with Thunder Punch through Confusion. Next out is Steelix, so I switch to Kingdra. It does about 40% with Earthquake, but I OHKO it with Surf. Corsola comes out next, so Meganium swaps in and takes it out with a single 4x effective Giga Drain. In comes her second ace Scizor, and I quick Leech Seed and then Reflect while it sets up an Agility and a Swords Dance. This is really scary and could potentially sweep me if I waste my reflect turns here. So I switch to Ampharos, who takes a huge chunk from the Twin Needle, but I click Fire Punch, forgetting it definitely outspeeds me, and a critical hit would have 100% ended Ampharos' life, but thankfully it doesn't crit, and we take it out with a Fire Punch. Finally, her Magneton goes down to a rolling kick from Hitmonlee, and we're 6 badges in, going strong. I head up to the Lake of Rage and encounter the famous Red Gyarados. There were almost some casualties, but we're fine. I name him Black Bear. Lance says he needs our help, so we go to Mahogany Town and... What the hell? Sir, you just f***ing murdered that guy. What? Lance? You are a damn accomplice. What do you mean you have to go? Dude, you just f***ing murdered that guy. You're going to prison. After a few rounds of boring rocket fights, we reach Adamant Archer, and I play kinda risky since my team is close to exceeding the level cap. I chip down Weezing with Strength from Hitmonlee, then finish it off with Scizor. I switch to Kingdra to take out his Houndoom with a Surf, while it just hits his soft Flame Wheel, and Stan to take out his Tauros with a few more Surfs as he just clicks Horn Attack. Ampharos takes care of Slowbo with a Thunder Punch, and then we can go fight Ariana, who is quickly destroyed by my literal beasts. I commit genocide on a species of Electrode because Lance threatened to Hyper Beam my balls if I didn't. Then it's time to take on Price. I lead Hitmonlee against Cloyster and click Rolling Kick as it switches into Jinx, who still gets one shot because John ain't no simp. NUZLOCKE comes out next and deals decent damage with Blizzard before it dies to a single Rolling Kick. And Dugong actually survives a Rolling Kick and hits a Surf that does pretty good damage, but another attack quickly takes it out. Piloswine comes out, and this is a pretty easy switch to Meganium, or never punished. Cloyster comes out last and dies to 2 Rolling Kicks while it just places down some useless spikes. Turns out it's pretty hard to make Ice type scared. Professor Elm calls us to help with the radio tower, so I bring Jonas back onto the team, whose evolution I delayed until 36 in order to get early Earthquake. We make it through a bunch of different grunt fights until we find a rocket admin imitating the director, and he challenges us to a battle. I take out Muck with Golem and Kingdra, Nidoqueen and Weezing with Golem, Nidoking with Kingdra, and its Rhydon also falls to a single hit from Kingdra. Under Goldenrod, our rival challenges us to a battle, and he leads with Pupitar against Malone, so that's an easy one-shot with Surf. I send out Houndoom on Victory Bell, who gets put to sleep, so I switch into Ampharos to weaken it with a couple of Fire Punches. Scizor comes in to finish it off with a Wing Attack, and I send in Jonas against Typhlosion, and he eats a Flamethrower. But my heart drops when I see Iron Tail. Thankfully, Golem has great defense so it doesn't KO, and we retaliate with an Earthquake. Meganium steps in and takes care of his Octillery, and with a few Giga Drains, he goes down. His final member, Golbat, falls to a few Surfs from Kingdra, and then we won the battle. In what seems to be a boss rush, we fight Admin Ariana, and I lead Ampharos against Arbok. I switch into Houndoom and take it out with a few Flamethrowers, and switch back to Ampharos to deal with Gyarados. Next up is Persian. Oh, that sucks. Losing Ampharos isn't great, as you'll soon see, because it was a great answer to the many Gyarados the Rocket Grunts and Admins like to use, so we win the rest of the fight with no casualties, and it's time to fight Archer. Golem weakens the lead Weezing, and then Archer switches to Gyarados. I send in Crobat to deal damage with Sludge Bombs, but Gyarados is doing a lot more damage than me with Surf. I switch to Meganium to take it down with some Giga Drains, while it just hits some weak gusts. Golem comes back in to finish off Weezing, and then Houndoom kills Tauros with a couple Flamethrowers as Tauros hits a pretty hard Rock Smash. Kingdra takes out his Houndoom with Surf, and Meganium comes back in to deal with Slowbro, setting up Reflect, Leech Seed, and then whittling away at it with Giga Drain until it goes down. I catch an Electabuzz and then a Sneasel on Ice Path, and then make my way to Blackthorn City, where, after switching up the team a bit, it's time to fight Claire. I lead Kingdra against her Dragonair and one-shot it with a Dragon Breath. Then she sends out Gyarados, so I switch to Electabuzz and set up a Light Screen before taking it out with a Thunderbolt, while it does a little bit of damage with Fly. Next out is her second Dragonair, so I decide to stay in and click Ice Punch, taking it out with one more as it paralyzes me with Thunder Wave and hits a few Dragon Breaths. Next up is her Ace Kingdra, and I decide to stay in for a turn since I think I can tank any one of her special moves. Unfortunately, her Kingdra has freaking Hyper Beam, and Hosier goes to church. Permanently. Gengar switches in and takes out Kingdra with a few Shadow Balls, while it's forced to recharge, and then Scizor comes in on Lapras to take it out with a few Metal Claws, while Lapras comes close to KOing Scizor with a few Surfs. Unfortunately, we don't get the 8th badge yet. However, I catch a Skarmory below Blackthorn before going to the Dragon's Den. The old man gives us a test for dummies, and Claire is somehow astounded that we passed.
Even I haven't been approved. Maybe it's because you're such a bitch.
We get the 8th badge. Before the Indigo Plateau, we have one last one-sided battle with our rival. Ursaring goes down to a Twin Needle after I set up one Swords Dance, but unfortunately that attack boost is wasted because Typhlosion comes in next, and I switch to Kingdra to take it down with Surf, well, it hits a Thunder Punch. Golbat comes in next, so I switch to Golem to click Rock Slide, but he switches into Octillery, so I switch into Swift and kill it with Giga Drain. Golbat comes back in, and this time Golem is able to successfully hit it with a Rock Slide and take it out. In comes Victory Bell, and Scyther is easily able to take it out with Twin Needle. His Ace Tyranitar comes in, and it dies to a single, well, I guess 2 Twin Needles, and we've beaten our rival for the final time. Also, at this point I realize Gengar is Hidden Power Ice, so I teach it so that I have a strong move for the Elite Four. These are the 6 Pokemon I decided to bring with me to face the Elite Four and Champion. My team is leveled to 50 to match the Ace of Will, the first member of the Elite Four. Can they do it? Watch and find out. And maybe drop a subscribe if you're enjoying. First up is Will, the Psychic type trainer, and he leads Girafarig into my Scizor. Girafarig goes down to 1 Twin Needle, and Will sends out his Slowking next, who has Flamethrower, but Scizor just doesn't care and kills it with the Twin Needle too. Xatu comes in and hits a Confuse Ray, which makes Scizor hit itself before bringing Xatu into the yellow with a Twin Needle in the next turn, and then, snapping out of confusion, it takes it out. I switch to Swift on the incoming Espeon, and Swift's semi-stall set of Leech Seed, Detect, Synthesis, and Giga Drain slowly whittle away at Espeon's health until it eventually goes down. The Slowbro that comes in next simply goes down to 2 Giga Drains while setting up a Superfluous Curse, and with that, the first member of the Elite Four is defeated. Next up is Koga, and oh boy, this sucked. I use Wing Attack on Scizor as Ariados goes for Double Team, and then we immediately miss our subsequent attack. Muck comes out next, and I send in Kingdra to deal some damage with Surf, but we get poison and don't deal enough damage, so Gengar comes in to save the day and kill the pile of goo with a Shadow Ball. Sneasel comes in on a Sleep Powder from Venomoth, so I switch to Scizor, who takes a Psychic and gets put to sleep. Scizor sleeps for 3 turns, and then wakes up to take Venomoth out with Wing Attack, but she's taking a lot of damage. Qwilfish comes in and Gengar is easily able to take it out with a Thunder Punch, and Koga sends out his ace, Crobat. A Thunder Punch brings it into the yellow, so I switch to Golem, fearing that after Double Team, my next attack would miss and Bite would KO me. Crobat actually just uses Confuse Ray, and a combination of Bite flinches, misses, and hitting myself in confusion means that Golem has done nothing for 4 turns and is at too low HP to stay in after toxic damage. I switch to Sneasel to try and hit it with a Feint attack that never misses, but Crobat confuses me and I of course hit myself in confusion. I'm forced to switch and Meganium comes in to hit a Leech Seed, but I get flinched and miss yet again for several more turns. It's looking like I'm going to have to sack something, but our hero Malone comes in and against all odds connects with the Surf to win the battle. I hope both sides of your pillow are warm tonight, Koga. Third is Bruno, the fighting type member, and he leads with Hitmonchan against Meganium for another stall battle. Heracross comes in next and I switch to Kingdra, but I take way more damage than expected, so I switch into Scizor, who is able to take it out with Wing Attack after tanking a Mega Horn. I switch to Golem on the Fire Punch, then Gengar on the Cross Chop since I'm immune to it, and hit a strong Shadow Ball while Machamp just hits a Rock Slide. I take it out with one more Shadow Ball, and the Hitmonlee that comes in next literally can't damage Gengar, so it dies too with a few more Shadow Balls. The Steelix that comes in last is walled fairly easily by Meganium, however a lucky Iron Tail miss means that Meganium doesn't have to switch out at all and can take down the Metal Snake by herself. 3 down, 1 to go. Karen is the last member of the Elite Four, and she leads with Umbreon. Scissor starts out and takes it down with a few Twin Needles, thankfully not missing after a double team. Houndoom comes in next and is easily countered by Kingdra, who doesn't quite one-shot with Surf, but survives the crunch and KOs the Houndoom on the next turn. Scizor comes in on the Gengar, and I let it put me to sleep and make sure it's using Dream Eater before switching to Sneasel, who is able to take out Gengar with 2 feint attacks as Gengar just used a Confuse Ray, which I prepared for by giving Sneasel a Bitter Berry to cure the confusion. Lovato is also able to take out Murkrow with Ice Punch, getting a freeze after the first one, and 2-shotter Vileplume with 2 Ice Punches while it whiffs a Sleep Powder. Sneasel is 100% the MVP of this fight. Let's move on to the final battle. Champion Lance starts out with his Gyarados against Gengar. Gengar one-shots with Thunder Punch and Aerodactyl comes in second. I pivot to Meganium on an Earthquake and Scyther on a Wing Attack. I take it out with a Metal Claw the next turn and Lance sends out his Dragonite. Gengar switches back in, taking a Fire Blast moderately well and one-shots the Dragon with Hidden Power Ice. Charizard is sent out next and I switch to Kingdra while it sets up Double Team. It takes a few turns because I miss Surf and Charizard spams more Double Teams, but eventually it goes down and Zapdos is sent out next. I switch to Golem on a Thunderbolt, and it's finally your time to shine, Jonas. Let's go out with a bang! With that, we are... Oh crap. I forgot it has another Dragonite. Okay, well, pivot through Sneasel for some reason, I don't know. Then switch to Gengar, and with one last Hidden Power Ice, we become the champion of Johto. If you stayed till the end of the video and enjoyed it, thank you, and maybe leave a like if you want to see the post game. I really appreciate you, and I hope to see you the next time we embark on another journey. Goodbye.